Yeah, fell on a bear today. Good morning. Hey, what's up? I should say good late morning. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. I've got the live Deerfield beach cam up here. Boy, sure would be nice to have one of these under our pier in Lauderdale by the Sea. Maybe one day. Let's take a look at what's going on. We'll look at all those bait fish out there. I'm sure there's some predators around. Where there's bait, there's predators. And let's take a look here and see what's going on as far as precious metal prices today. Kind of a crazy day, but before I do that, my quote for the day is bull markets are born on pessimism, grow on skepticism, mature on optimism, and die on euphoria. Well, as far as that probably can apply to all markets, all bull markets. However, some bull markets are different than others, and they look differently. A bull market in precious metals looks way different than the bull market in the Dow. The bull market in precious metals, I believe, has been going on since 2016. These are slow-moving bull markets in precious metals. Typically move like snails. They typically follow. They go up when the buying power of the dollar goes down, which is ever declining. I mean, it's never going to go back up. All you got to do is take a look at our little line right here. Look, for the last year. As this moves down, gold may not move down directly with it. However, gold will eventually move up, kind of an inverse kind of deal here. So as you see, the buying power of the U.S. dollar slowly erode through the decades and the days now. It's almost like this is the 1 year chart. Take a look at this. Purchasing power of the consumer dollar in the U.S. city. This is a 1 year chart, folks. Take a look at that line. Doesn't look too positive. So this is where you'll see accelerated growth in gold. But let's take a look at the maximum chart here. And of course you can see that deceleration is even further there. But I mean, take a look at this, the decline in the value of the dollar. Well, let's not beat a dead horse there. Or should I say the last horse to the glue factory, which is the U.S. dollar in my opinion. Well, I don't know. It depends on what happens here. A lot of black swans coming up. Let's take a look at, well, anyway, there's my saying for the day. And this can apply to precious metal markets at one point too. I've seen bubbles in precious metal markets. I've seen them get way, 1980s and 2012. On the other hand, I did see them get monkey hammered down. We know that 2012 gold and silver prices were at epic highs. Silver was almost $50 an ounce. Gold was nearly over $2,000 an ounce, I believe, or closing to that point. I forget, actually. No less, we know that J.P. Morgan and a bunch of other big commercial banks slammed that market down hard. Can you imagine where gold and silver markets would go without that type of manipulation? And hopefully we're going to see that eventually here at some point. If the crooked comics ever, well, I doubt they're going to fix anything. I think the physical end of it's going to kill them. Lack of physical. And again, I've always said that the prices that we see here, right here, are basically derived from the paper markets, derived from the COMEX and the CME, the crooked CME. At some point, the beauty of gold, unlike other assets that are just digital in the ether world, the beauty of gold is there's a product backing it. I mean, you should have gold, and there should be gold backing a lot of these paper investments at COMEX. Well, I don't think COMEX has all the gold they should. They don't plan on delivering it most of the time. But, well, anyways, I don't want to go off on a different track here. So what does that have to do with what I've been talking about? Oh, I already did go off the track. Yeah, with precious metals. So we did see precious metal prices get hammered. And as I said, can you imagine if we weren't in a market where the J.P. Morgans were rewarded for manipulating markets like the gold and silver markets and other banks? Gosh, gold would probably be $5,000 an ounce more than likely by now. More than likely, but tough to say. That's just speculation on my point. Take a look at the markets here overnight. Big up day. What is gold telling us? Is this the black swan event in Ukraine and Russia that we're seeing right now? There is about a 40-mile line of tanks and armor heading into the Kiev area. I really hope that they get their shit together and come to some kind of agreement. War is not good for anybody. And as far as who's to blame in this particular instance, I'm going to say both parties are to blame pretty damn well. And the United States, UK, and NATO, and Europe especially are to blame for goading this whole thing on, and they have. But I'm not going to go into that today. You know my whole opinion. So 1902.38 the low, 1930 the high. We're sitting close to that high right now. Silver 24.31, and we have broken that $25 level, folks. Take a look at this, 25.07 on the high, and last price we got is 25.02. It will be very interesting if we close above this $25 mark. I've got a sneaking suspicion we won't. There's a big battle going on, probably by the large commercial short positions that have always manipulated the gold and silver markets. I think it might be out of their hands a little bit right now, because we would not be seeing $25 silver if the commercial short positions, the big commercial, the big commercial short positions at Crimex, if they were in control right now, it would not be $25 silver, folks. We wouldn't be looking at 1926 gold, but we especially wouldn't be looking at $25 silver. I have a feeling that they've lost control of this somewhat here, but let's see what kind of hammer they can bring down. The only way they're going to hammer the gold and silver and platinum markets right now, it will be so obvious. I mean, they would have to do something so obviously, blatantly manipulative that the mainstream press in half the world would wake up saying, that was a crooked move. I mean, that is the only way they're going to hammer these prices down from this point back to that $23 and $22 level. And would they do it? I don't know. Their greed level far surpasses their ability to jail them. They're too big to fail, and they're too big to jail. So maybe they're like giant criminal gangsters that just know they're never going to go to prison because they're working for the gangsters. All right. And who are the gangsters? Well, I won't say they're gangsters, but the government's the gangsters, actually, in my opinion, to some degree. They're gangsters for not taking the CFTC, for not taking care of this kind of situation, not making sure the markets are fair and free. But no less, again, don't want to go there today because you know my opinion, talked about it way too many times. We're going to stick with product and what's going on right now. So 24.31, the low, boy, that's quite a range there, 25.07, and we're sitting pretty close to that 25, a little bit over that 25 range. I'm going to refresh the page too. Remember, this is static. I have to manually refresh it. And after I'm done taking a look at platinum here, look at that, 1,045. Oddly enough, backed off a little bit, 1,042 the low, 1,067. I was pretty sure we would see platinum surpassing that $1,100 mark. This is an odd thing to me. You know, for a while, I thought platinum was a tell, deciding which way gold and silver was going to go, and now I don't know. For a little while, when gold and silver was doing okay and it was in the green, platinum started showing red, gold and silver would follow for a little while. Just a little pattern I noticed some months ago, but I haven't seen that correlation right now. Gold and silver seem to be working actually, all these metals seem to be working independently of each other in some strange way, fashion, or manner. Maybe that's just my observation of the big picture here. Palladium, really the big winner, but what did I say earlier in the week, or I believe last week actually, I think last Friday I said that if we did see an invasion or we saw a full-scale invasion into Ukraine, which it looks like we're watching right now, we're going to see the price of palladium shoot up, especially with sanctions, once the sanctions start kicking in. Remember, Russia is a large producer of palladium and platinum, my understanding, as is Canada and South Africa, but I think a lot of palladium comes out of Russia, and with sanctions being slapped on them and all kinds of things, yeah, I think we could see the price of palladium shoot up dramatically. But that's what palladium does anyway. When it makes moves, it's dramatic. I mean, dramatic. However, I don't know enough about the palladium market to tell you whether to play or not play or not. You know, my markets are gold, silver, and platinum pretty much. That's my specialty. Boy, what a nice move, though. I mean, we were, what, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, we were sitting at 2,300 or and change or something like that. Now you're sitting at 2,590. But again, not untypical for platinum. Let's do a quick refresh here and just to see what is going on. Okay, we're still holding above that $25 mark. Let's take a look at the 24-hour charts now and see where most of this activity has occurred. Obviously, this is yesterday's prices, the red line right there, and you can see it got monkey hammered at the New York Crimex markets down to that sub 1900 mark. And actually, we were talking about this yesterday because my video was out a little bit later than normal yesterday. And this last night's opening until, where is today? Right there. There we go. I'm sorry, that was Sunday. My apology. Last night's opening, and just drifting up in the overnight Globex markets, London markets, etc. and kind of getting knocked back down there a little bit, but a slight slingshot back up again to where we are right now. Gold's showing some pretty good strength. I'm not quite sure what the gold to silver ratio is now, but I'm sure it's tightened up, and we'll take a look at that in a moment. One second. Actually, I can do it right here. Hopefully Siri won't make me do it 3 times. And let's just do a quick gold to silver ratio. And where is Siri? There we go. 1,924.62 divided by 25.03. Wow, substantial. 76.89, basically a little bit less than 77 to 1 with the gold to silver ratio. So that's probably a result of silver playing catch up and moving up quite substantially here, as opposed to gold, which has been creeping its way up as well. But it looks like silver caught up. And as I've been saying for a while, remember gold was much higher, and we were at that 79, 80 to 1 kind of ratio, and I kept saying either gold's too high or silver's too cheap. And it's likely that silver is too cheap. So that's exactly what we're seeing. I said that silver would play catch up to gold if gold was going to hang on to these 1900 plus levels. And that's exactly what we're seeing. We're saying silver played catch up to gold as far as the ratios go. And gold apparently seems to be in its element in this above 1900 level. As I've said, we've broken the 200-day moving average with that, and it looks like we've just done that with the silver. Again, let's see if it stays in this $25 range. It'll be very interesting to see that. Let's take a look at the silver overnight charts as well. There you go. There's an explosive move upside in the CRIMEX markets here at morning. Actually, when did shortly? There you go. That takeoff right there, that rocketing motion upward to 25 is actually at the opening of the New York CRIMEX markets. Make of it as you will. Does this tell us, and we haven't seen it come back down, does this tell us that the COMEX and CFTC has tightened up? They're not allowing the big commercial banks to hammer this like they were, or not as much? Or does this mean possibly that the physical is just such big demand for physical that it's weighing on the paper markets now, and this is why you're seeing this up price? Tough to say. There's a lot of different opinions on that, and we'll get to that in another video here. Meanwhile, let's move along, because we're all here for the show. I'm here for the show too as well, folks. Are we going to see $2,000 plus gold anytime soon? I think it's very well possible we could. I'm not quite sure that we're not going to see more black swan events. We've got a falling stock market. We've got war in Europe. We've got supply lines being even made. Think about it. You think supply lines were bad during the Critter 19? Look what's happening in Europe right now. Look what's going to happen with wheat in Europe. What's going to happen with gasoline prices. Folks, we're in for a shitstorm here. And I think it's all culminated together, and we're going to see much higher prices in gold and silver. I think we'll probably see gold shoot well past the $2,000 mark this year. And I believe silver at $30 will just be something that you hope you would see again, because you'd sure like to buy at $30 again. But again, just my opinion. However, it's hard not to think that we're in a near a takeoff stage, that 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 blast off kind of deal. Let's take a look at the markets here in equity markets. Just a death, I fudged this up before in another video, but death by 1,000 cuts. And I really honestly believe that there is some kind of presidential plunge team, some federal or federal and or Fed, Fed money, you know what I mean, the Federal Reserve money, going in there and manipulating the Dow Jones, SP, and NASDAQ. And you're probably saying, Brian, how can they be manipulating it when it's only dropping, 400 points or 30 minus, it's dropping a little bit at a time. I think they're trying to slowly let the balloon, air out of the balloon. What happened in 2008 would be a catastrophe today, even bigger. The balloon is so much bigger that at least the government and the Federal Reserve learned that they can't let the equity markets and the housing markets crash overnight. And they invariably know that they have to go crash, they have to go down. So what's the best way to do that? Well, try to support them as they move slowly downward. Or, as I'm saying, when the air starts escaping to the balloon and it looks like it's about to burst, patch it up a little bit. And what does that mean? Maybe buying equities somehow secretly through the Dow Jones, SP, and NASDAQ. But I certainly believe there's some kind of support going on in these markets. Otherwise, we would have seen a massive dumping It's purely speculative and purely conspiratorial on my part. But if 1% of the crazy conspiracy theories were right out there, I think we would all be blown away. So that's just my thoughts, and I'm sticking with it. But again, I brought up the Plunge Protection Team many times before. Who is the Plunge Protection Team? For some of you folks that are not familiar with that name, Plunge Protection Team. Let's take a look here, and I'll let you read it for yourself. The Plunge Protection Team. There you go. Investopedia, my favorite place to look up words or terms. The Plunge Protection Team, PPT, is a colloquial name given to the Working Group on Financial Markets. Created in 1988 to provide, remember the 1988 crash, to provide financial and economic recommendations to the U.S. President during turbulent market times. This group is headed by the Secretary of the Treasury. Other members include the Chair, the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, the Chair of the SEC, the Chair of the CFTC, oh God, or the aides or officials they desire to represent them. And the name Plunge Protection Team was coined by the Washington Post, first applied to the group in 1997. Let's see here, and here we go. Here's what I was kind of looking for down here. Critics fear the Plunge Protection Team doesn't just advise, but actively intervenes to prop up stock prices, colluding with banks to rig the markets in effect. Now, folks, when I was saying that it was a conspiracy on my part, I was just kind of joking about that. They may say it's conspiracy, but we know for a fact that the Fed and the government intervenes in markets. They've been doing it openly since 2008, so why wouldn't anyone think that the Plunge Protection Team right now, in the cloak and dagger world, they don't release hours, by the way. They can do this stuff in the secret. Now, why wouldn't anyone think that the Plunge Protection Team, whose job was to do these kind of things, and now that they've been given the mandate that they can just throw money secretly without telling us that these things, why would we not believe that they're not doing it right now? They're not slowly letting the air out of this market. Again, that's my opinion and the opinion of people a lot smarter than me as well. Let's take a look at some other things. The markets are down overall. U.S. down, okay. Since that's not my specialty, but it all plays in. Economics, politics, stock markets, equities, this all falls into the price of gold and silver. And look what's happening here is we're looking pretty good. Bitcoin surprised the hell out of me, but it really didn't. All of a sudden I said, well, why did it make this huge recovery? Think about it. Think about all that Russian money. They've just been sanctioned to hell. The bank accounts are being cut off. And that there's a lot of money, and probably, like every other country, so a certain segment of it not even legal money. But again, I'm not going to go there. I can't say that legal money goes into cash, goes into equity markets, goes into real estate. You can't just say it goes into Bitcoin or that kind of thing only. But think about the amount of Russian money that went into Bitcoin this week. Now, Bitcoin is used to these $1,000 moves and these $500 moves. The volatility is just insane. Doesn't take much. You get a couple people taking a large amount of money out, goes down. You get a large amount of people putting money into it, goes up. And think about what happened, and think about why this price is probably up. Huge influx of Russian money that probably went there. That they, listen, it's safer they feel in their bank, so it was going to go somewhere. And there you go. And that's probably. But you know what the bad thing about this, if it is proven that a large amount of Russian money went into Bitcoin during this event, well, there you go, Bitcoin bugs. You are definitely going to see regulation coming along the line when Democrat and Republican senators and congressmen stand up there and say, oh, the Russians were able to evade our sanction by using Bitcoin. And mark my words, someone's going to say it and the Fed's going to pick it up. However, let's move along to something else here, which is something that I am an expert in, and I am, out of all the YouTube talking heads out there, here's the one thing I do better than any of them. I know what the best deals on product are. Since 1977, I have been buying and selling gold and silver and rare coins and other things as well, jewelry and artwork, blah, blah, blah. But gold and silver is something I started working with my father in 1977, and by the way, my father's doing okay. He's got some tests that are coming up here that aren't too good. Some people have asked. I'm a little nervous about it, but let me not go there right now. Let's talk about what I do best. So what I can also do best, besides tell my customers here in South Florida that come to my store, Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals, I think I'm plugging myself here. I need to. That what I help my customers with here is finding what the best deals out there. And this is why if you don't live in South Florida and you're listening to my podcast here, I guess I call it a podcast. I'm not sure what it is. Is this a video or a podcast? But if you're listening and watching me and you don't live in my area and you can't come to my store physically to buy gold and silver, find yourself a good local dealer. I could go into the long spiel. Most of you know this stuff, and forgive me, fast forward if you want to. But for the new folks out there, keep it local if you can. Keep that money in your town. So again, what I'm best at is telling you what the best deals are. The best deals are still bars out there. You can pick up gold bars, good brands, Perth Mint, Sunshines, Valcombis, RMC bars, Credit Suisse, these bars right here. I forget what is that. I forget how you pronounce that. Sorry about that. And most all these bars are great. You can pick it up for spot plus $73 in the card. If you don't want the cards, you might even find them a little bit less if you can find bars not in cards. But spot plus 73 or less on small quantities. On larger quantities, you can, like I said, you can pay less than that. And as you know, I advertise for my local South Florida customers. I'll beat APMEX, SD, and JM bullion on common type bullion products. So you should, and again, if you don't live in my area, you should be able to find a good local dealer that can. Even if you have to drive an hour to do it. So what's the next best deal after that? Well, I'm going to look at my sheet. No sovereign coins are a great deal right now. I'm looking out here, and what is the cheapest, best deal on commonly traded sovereign coins? When I say sovereign, I mean coins made by mints from countries, a country's mint. Maples, no. Gold Eagles are out of the question. Love the product, just that the premiums that they're getting for them right now is just insane. They're probably like $113 or less. Again, small quantities, you can probably pick them up. In large quantities, I can beat APMEX, JM, and SD. I can beat the big guys out there on that price. But I'm giving you like small quantities if you're buying one or just a couple of these on gold. What's the best deal? Krugerrands, I guess, are $2 cheaper than maple leafs when you go out to get them. They should be about $2 cheaper. Gold for Hillmonics are the same price as Krugerrands. So are Britannias, so are Kangaroos. Again, depends on availability. I don't carry all those products. I'm not hung up with what the design is. All I care about is that it's good gold and the price is right. So what would that be for me? It would probably be Krugerrands, although I do have Kangaroos on hand right now as well. But none of the sovereign products are really a great deal out there. It's just kind of insane. I was surprised the other day to see the price on Mexican 50 pesos. It's just nutso. If I own 50 pesos, look at that. The spread is like $100, $105 spread between the wholesale buy and sell. Add some money onto the ask price. You're probably looking at $175 to $200 over melt for Mexican 50 pesos. I guess they're hard to get and they're popular somewhere. But again, that's a high premium in my opinion. Let's take a look at the silver. What's the best deal out there in silver? Still 1 ounce and 10 ounce and 100 ounce bars. However, I just got a special deal on kilo bars, by the way. And again, this is for my local folks down here. If you live in my area, I do have kilo bars at spot plus $2.75 per ounce. That's even 25 cents an ounce cheaper than hundreds. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to run a special all week on 100 ounce and kilo bars, as long as I can get access to the kilos, at spot plus 75 cents. If someone says, if someone in my store says, well, they're $1, say, hey, Brian said on the video 75 cents, call them. So I'm going to tell my crew that I'm going to lower the, I'm sorry, not 75 cents over. I'm going to lower my sell prices on my 100 ounce bars. I'm going to lower my sell prices, or not lower, but I just got a great deal on the kilo bars. So kilos and hundreds are going to run spot plus $2.75. At least I can do the 100 ounce bars for a couple days like that, and I can do the kilo bars like that until I run out of them. Again, spot plus $2.75. 10 ounce bars are spot plus $3, and 1 ounce rounds are still pricey at spot plus $3.50. I think I'll have to double check that again. That's small quantities. Still way cheaper than the sovereign products. Way cheaper than what is it, Silver Eagles. I can still beat the prices of all the big guys on Silver Eagles, but do you really want to pay spot plus $8.50 for backdate Silver Eagles or spot plus $9.50 for 2022s? No, it's too much, man. You can buy the 1 ounce, 10 ounce, and 100 ounce bars, like I said, far cheaper premium. Same thing with silver maple leafs, overpriced. I have silvers, maples, and stocks. I think I got silver Canadian Eagles and Canadian Falcons in stock. But I got a good price on them. but they're still overpriced in my opinion. And availability on silver maples apparently is not good right now. Britannias are not available. If you can find them out there, they're probably overpriced as well. It looks like silver Krugerrands are available, but at spot plus 4 1/4, it's still way more expensive than spot plus 350 for a 1 ounce generic, or spot plus 275 for kilo bars. And again, other than that, that's the best deals out there, folks. That's the one thing I can help you with. What are the best deals? And I will always tell you that, straight up. I took a look at the gata.org site. Gata.org is if you're a gold trader and you follow gold and silver, you need to have them on your bookmark bars. They are the godfathers of, like Ted Butler is to silver, these people are to gold. They know how the market is played, who the players are, how they manipulate the markets, and a good read. I kind of went off on them a little bit yesterday because I just got sick of them posting. I don't know why they would post Bloomberg news articles. Bloomberg will never be friendly to gata.org, and I know they're trying to educate people, and maybe you shouldn't kill the messenger, but even the narrative on some of these Bloomberg articles sucks. But I kind of went off on Gata yesterday just for posting those things because I can't stand corporate media myself. But there's some interesting things out here. Ronan Manley discusses LBMA quietly expels 2 Russian bank members, but Russia, I don't think they need the LBMA. In fact, they're turning inward and buying their own domestic supply again. They're turning their money into gold, and I think that's probably a smart move. But anybody that said the Russians are stupid is not really is listening too much to Radio America and Fox News and CNN. They're not stupid, trust me, folks. But again, I'm not a war person. I think anyone that pushes for war and wants to maintain a war is evil, both sides speaking. And I think actually everyone's to blame in this whole deal. This is just a shame. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope we don't see more death and destruction over there. This is not the way you want to see the price of gold and silver go up, and not the way you want to see the world go down, which is a possibility here, folks. But what I don't understand is why this moron, and again, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say, no, when I said moron, I wasn't referring to that, I was referring, of course. I don't know why these people right here would not just simply step in and be peacemakers and go in there to the Russians and say, listen, tell you what, we'll keep weapons out of Ukraine, we'll keep Ukraine neutral territory as far as that goes, as long as you make sure peace, you're out of the country, and peace, we'll make sure that peace is held in the country. We'll make it a neutral territory. That's what really should be done right now. We'd avoid all this death and destruction. But I have a feeling that this particular group and other groups in Europe and UK are really pushing for this war. If there's one thing that I may have gotten it wrong about the invasion, I didn't think it was going to happen, but one thing I didn't know for sure is these people were pushing for it, and they still are. With 4 simple words, just saying no NATO in Ukraine, they could probably end most of this just overnight. These people could. Why they wouldn't, I don't know. Again, it takes 2 to tango, and I believe these people are not helping the Ukrainians at all. Neither are the people in the EU or UK, nor is corporate media, which is turned, as you can tell, purely into the mouthpiece of the officials, the official narrative. Well, not too much I want to talk about here. I'm just going to go off on it, and I'm not too happy with our world leaders across the world, not just the ones in this country, across the world. And obviously, I think corporate media across the world sucks and is nothing but a propaganda tool for the governments and officials across the world. Well, there you go. I said it. Yeah. Warren Swift sanctions may bring unintended consequences. Yeah, that's because the demon may lose billions himself, and him and his country. All he's worried about is his too big to fail and too big to jail ass, in my opinion. Screw these people. Come on, Elon. Stop trying to get your name in the press. Really, make some good products. Do something good. Keep questioning the government, but quit marketing all kinds of bullshit. All right, sorry, I didn't mean to say that about him. Yesterday's video, 4 words equal no war. And what were those 4 words? No, NATO, and Ukraine. That would simply probably avoided a lot of this, or at least stopped it for now. And my quote yesterday was, the best way to destroy an enemy is to make him a friend. This is true, folks. This is very, very true. It's the right thing to do as well. Let's take a look at comments for yesterday's video, and let's see what's going on here. Close your eyes if you get motion sickness, because I had a couple glasses of wine and I did this one night, and my eyes started going cross-eyed. And good for you, Clayton, Jonathan. Yeah, can't argue with that. We're on the same page. I think most Americans, I just saw a poll today that 55% of Americans think that the administration has handled this wrong, and that there was no need for us to put in or threaten the bear. There was just no need for it. You know, why did we, especially now? Maybe there's a reason why world leaders are pushing this war. Maybe they don't want us to pay attention to something else. I don't know. Maybe they want our minds off something else. What could that be? All right, I'll move along. Yeah, that's a possibility too, Glenn. Don't want to read it out loud, but that's a possibility as well. And let's see what we going out there. Yeah, we may never know as well. Hey, Joey, you remind me I need to take a sip of my coffee. Hang on. Is there a question of fault too? I would stay out of politics and stick to coins. You know, Liquid, I think that's, I don't know if Putin's a bully. If Putin was a bully, he would have been putting weapons on our border. If Putin was but is he a strong man? Abso-freaking-lutely he's a strong man. But the problem is, I think most people respect strong men to some degree, especially when they're covering their own asses. But Ukraine doesn't deserve this. I agree 100% with this. But it takes two to tango. You know, again, as I said, Liquid Electrum, I believe that it was simple. 4 words could have prevented, 4 words by the United States and NATO or EU would have avoided all this. 4 words, which was no NATO in Ukraine. And a lot of bloodshed would have been avoided, but they didn't do it. Why? They were pushing for this. Why? I don't know. Maybe they want to keep our minds off other things. Maybe there's something else coming up. I don't know. Maybe this was their payback to the Russians for, I don't know. Maybe this is just typical war hawk bullshit and the military-industrial complex as well, which is probably likely the story. I agree with you, and oh yeah, nothing good there, Linda. I've been following. Yeah, that's a great, by the way, yesterday I was promoting Bald and Bankrupt on YouTube. It's a great channel. It's called Bald and Bankrupt. And boy, he did some travels through Ukraine. You know, before you believe what you hear from the idiots, in my opinion, the talking heads on CNN, MSNBC, Fox, NPR, all those ridiculous corporate media, even though NPR isn't corporate, they're the government spokespeople. They're all, watch Bald and Bankrupt to learn about what the people like there are really like. Ukraine is a very divided country, and it always has been for a long, long time. The east side of Ukraine is mostly loaded with Russians and people of Russian heritage, and the west side is, and the north part along the border of Poland is mostly occupied by ethnic Ukrainians, okay? So the country's always been divided. So you'll learn a lot if you watch that show, Bald and Bankrupt. Anyway, and it's very entertaining too. It's interesting to see how people over there live. They're not your enemies. The Russians aren't. The Ukraine's not. You know who your enemies are? It's your governments and your officials, folks. That's who, and your corporate media all over the world, whether it's Russia, United States, or EU. The enemy is not other people. It's your own governments, your own media. Remember, we are witnessing the mass exposure. Yep, I can't argue with that. Silver Loving Lou. Appreciate you watching. And I've heard that as well, Colin Spiller. I would go over each and every comment here, but I've already read them, and I'm just kind of agreeing with some of them. Some of you folks can stop and pause this, and I encourage you all to talk to each other in the comment section. If you're reading Colin's comment here and you want to kind of chime in, I'm sure he's a good guy, and you guys can have some great conversations. And I also learn when I read these conversations amongst you folks. Good for you, Andrew. And let's see. Thank you, Chuck Stuff, Celeste. No, I did not see that. In fact, I got to remind myself to look that up. David Wright. Thanks for bringing that up, Celeste. And the 200-day moving average, 220 is 24.42. Well, we broke that pretty much. Looks like we're broken the 200-day moving average. Where do we go from here? I think 27. Then it might back off a little bit. John, you said stop using the word socialist. If it's a swear word, go look at the Vikings. John, you're right into some degree. Socialism in the United States is a little different than socialism in other parts of the world. Socialism in the United States is typically Marxist and people that are more aligned with communist and Marxist. I'm sorry, but it's true. And maybe where you're from, socialist is slightly different, but here they're way different than your socialists in Europe. I think they are. And what else? With health care for all, national wealth funds for the people. Yeah, see, the problem with myself, John, I disagree with that. I don't believe in health care. I mean, healthcare. I don't believe in healthcare. What do I want to say? I don't believe that governments can do a great job at healthcare. I don't believe they can do a great at wealth fund. I don't believe they can do great for the people. I think that private agencies, as long as they're not in bed with government like we have in the United States right now, crony corporatism. I think competition is good. I think that if there was competition out there for healthcare wouldn't be getting more expensive, it would be getting less expensive. So I believe in a free market enterprise. I believe that, however, again, don't confuse a free market enterprise with what's going on in the United States right now. This is crony corporatism is what we got, cronyism. Big difference here, and you know the difference, John. Thanks for watching. Not trying to insult anybody, and my philosophy in life is I am fiscally conservative, fiscally responsible, but I don't care what anyone does with their lives as long as they don't make me pay for it and they don't hurt anyone else. There's my political philosophy. Thanks for watching, John. Have a great day, sir. Last week, crypto folded under pressures of war, so I've been selling 60%. Yeah, and then it shoots up, Che. God, man, what a weird environment cryptos are. But anyway, I don't think you're going to go wrong buying those products as well. Sorry you missed that slingshot here with cryptos, but probably should have thought about that, where all that sanctioned Russian money might go, and it looks like a segment of it did go into Bitcoin. Not enough to get it back up to its old highs, but enough to knock it up $3 or $4 grand, or a couple grand. Celtic Knot, I did check out Coach Red Pill, and that was actually a very good video, so thanks for bringing that out. I appreciate that. Hey, Jesse, what's up? Wanda, true, which means everything is bound to soon. Yeah, probably. Cryptocurrency is a giant Ponzi scheme. It is in some way, but so is life. Thanks, Rebel Fred. Appreciate you watching. What's going on here? Just deep state mop-up. Hey, that's possible as well. Joseph talks about digital currencies will follow equity markets, and then, but again, today was a big surprise, but maybe not. Again, Russian sanctions would have thrown a lot of that Russian cash floating around into cryptos this week. The ratio paper comics is 100%. Wow, that's a lot. Thanks, Tree Climber. Meta announced they were banning pro-Russia profiles. Fuck Meta, in my opinion, and Facebook. When they became dictators in free speech, that's when I told them they can go, as far as I care, they go bankrupt. Target Texas, yep, they are brainwashed. Most people are brainwashed. In fact, at the end of my videos, you can see what I talk about. Whose narrative is I'm brainwashed to some degree. Not everything in my brain is original. It was fed to me. Years of education, years of television, years of this stuff, and I'm still every day questioning my own narratives. Thank you, Jay Mick G. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Mark, yeah, that is a great Ball and Bankrupt. A lot of you guys out there know Ball and Bankrupt and like that. And it's a shame what's going out in Kiev, that's for sure. And no data center trade, but it fails to explain 14,000. Yeah, there's a lot more stuff going on that meets the eye. But a friend that works for Intelligence Exchange said our government's going to start advertising, pushing cryptos all they can. That would not surprise me. They probably own cryptos. And aha. You see that I have not said this all day, Last Living Cowboy. Why? Because you said something. It got stuck in my head. When you do these videos, it's easy to kind of repeat certain words. In fact, if you listen to a lot of YouTube talking heads, they do it over and over and over. But I digress. Juicy Boy says, I took your advice and watched the Bald and Corrupt. Yeah, really, really good eye-openers, and made me appreciate how simple and hard the lives of people in Eastern Europe are. Can't argue with that. Thanks for watching, Juicy Boy. And what's with the date and the title? Is this some cryptic message? Yeah, that means buy gold. No, actually, I think the guy that does my little editing there just put that in by accident. It should be 22, not 77. But maybe it is something cryptic. Thanks for watching, Rick. And another sip of coffee. Yeah, that is an issue for sure. And I'm really surprised corporate media doesn't, no, I'm not surprised corporate media doesn't go up, because they have a narrative on this whole deal that they want you to believe and they want you to follow. And speaking of narratives, as I say, we're going to end this with my theme for the year. Think for yourself and always question authority. And remember, whose narrative is in your head? Is it your own, or did you get it from someone else. And if you did get it from someone else, another source, you should probably question it. I do. Well, that's it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Call me anytime between 10 and 4 Mondays through Fridays at 954-493-8811. Glad to help you out with your purchases here in South Florida. And again, if you don't live in my area, find yourself a good, handsome, smart dealer like myself somewhere local. Keep that money in your town. Hey, thanks for watching, and let's see what happens tomorrow. Bye now.